Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. You are watching biology session, excretory products and their elimination. What is excretion, children? What is excretion? The process of elimination of nitrogenous wastes which are produced during metabolism from the animal's body is called excretion. Okay. What is osmoregulation? It is the process by which excess of water is removed from the body. Can you give example for osmoregulation? In freshwater animals like amoeba, paramecium, there is a contractile vacuole which eliminates the excess of water from the body. That process is called osmoregulation. Can you say which organ of our body acts as osmoregulatory in function? Yes, kidneys. Okay, kidneys acts as a excretory organs as well as osmoregulatory organs in our body. They maintain homeostasis. What is homeostasis? The process which keep the internal environment of the body constant. The process which keeps the internal environment of the body constant is called homeostasis. Okay. So what are the types of waste materials excreted by the animals? The waste products like especially nitrogenous wastes. What are they? Ammonia, urea, uric acid. So what is the excretory product in human beings? Urea. So if urea is excreted, we are called as a ureotelic. We are called as a ureotelic, and the phenomenon is called ureotelism. Okay. Which organ of our body helps in the excretion? Kidneys. What are the structural and functional units of kidney? Nephron. So this is the nephron is the structural and functional unit of a kidney, which helps in the process of excretion, isn't it? So we are studying the mechanism of formation of urine. In the mechanism of formation of urine, what is the first step? The first step of formation of urine is the filtration of blood, which is carried out by the glomerulus. This is the glomerulus. Okay. So that's why the filtrate which is formed is called as a glomerular filtrate. Okay. So human kidney can filter about 1100 to 1200 ml of urine. Okay. See, means 1100 to 1200 of ml of blood. Kidneys are the blood purifying organs. During the purification of the blood only, the nitrogenous waste materials which are present in the blood will be filtered. Okay. The filtration is also called ultrafiltration, which include selectively required substances which are to be filtered. For example, RBC, glucose, hormones. These are all useful substances. They are not filtered. Okay. And that's why human kidneys filter about 1100 to 1200 ml of blood per minute, which constitute roughly 1/5 of the blood pumped out by each ventricle of a heart in a minute. Okay. The force for the glomerular filtration is provided by the difference between the blood pressure in the glomerular capillaries, that is 77 mm of Hg, and the sum of them. Okay, let us proceed, children. So we will continue. Apart from this filtration, urine formation we have discussed. Now accessory excretory organs, that is skin, lungs and liver. These three are called the accessory excretory organs. Accessory excretory organs means the organs which are involving in the excretion indirectly, or the part-time function of those organs is excretion. The main excretory organ is urinary system. Apart from this, some of the other organs and tissues like skin, lungs and liver function as accessory excretory organs. So excretory role of the skin. The skin is the largest organ in the body. It is called integument system. In aquatic animals, integument is more permeable to nitrogenous wastes than in terrestrial animals. Ammonia is mainly excreted out into the surrounding water by diffusion through the skin. Okay, aquatic animals example can you give? The examples like fishes. Okay, so they excrete ammonia, because for the excretion of ammonia large amount of water is required, whereas the terrestrial animals can prevent the loss of water through the skin, mainly in desert animals. The mammalian skin, if you come to the normal mammalian skin including human beings, it has two types of glands for secreting two types of fluids on its surface, that is sebum. The first one is sebum. It is an oily substance which is secreted from sebaceous glands, and the second one is sweat. The sweat is produced from the sweat glands. Actually, some excess of salts and water will be filtered by the sweat glands of the skin, which are located in the dermis region. Okay, so they eliminate the waste materials in the form of sweat. So sweat is an aqueous fluid, means containing water, which contains sodium chloride, lactic acid, urea, amino acids and glucose. It excretes mainly water and sodium chloride and small amounts of urea and lactic acids. Okay, those sweat contain all these sodium chloride, lactic acid, urea, amino acids and glucose. The amino acids, glucose, they are not present in the sweat. Only small amounts of urea and lactic acid and sodium chloride and excess of water is present in the sweat. Remaining are filtered. The sebum is a wax-like secretion which eliminates some lipids such as waxes, sterols, other hydrocarbons and fatty acids on the skin. So here the skin is functioning two ways. The two types of substances are secreted. What are they? One is sweat, which eliminates excess of salt and water, whereas sebum, it is a waxy like secretion produced by sebaceous glands which are present under the skin, whereas sweat is secreted by sweat glands. Okay, both are richly supplied with blood capillaries, so the filtration, partial filtration takes place by these organs. That's the reason why in summer season more sweat we will get. In winter season the sweat pores are inactive. Okay, so but at the time of, for example, when you are doing a physical work, more sweat is secreted, more water we consume. Okay, so excretory role of lungs. You know very well the primary function of lungs is respiration, to provide the it helps in the oxygenation of blood. Oxygenation of blood inside the lungs, in the alveoli, air sacs. The blood combines with oxygen and convert into oxygenated blood. That oxygenated blood is supplied to cells where it oxidizes the digested food material and release energy, that is called cellular respiration. Okay. At the same time, lungs also help in the elimination of carbon dioxide. Okay. So these lungs help to eliminate the waste products of respiration. What are the waste products of respiration? Carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide must be eliminated from the body. So lungs play a very important role. Along with this carbon dioxide, some water in the form of water vapor is also eliminated from the body. In this way, lungs acts as a excretory organs. Okay. Next, excretory role of liver. What is liver actually? Liver is the largest gland present in our body. It acts like a factory. It performs several functions, very, very important functions. So it is the only organ which has the high regenerative capacity. Okay, high regenerative capacity means if any damage occur to the liver, it easily heals by means of mitosis, cell division. It will again rectify. Okay, children. So now here we are discussing the role of liver in excretion. So the liver plays an important role in the excretion of cholesterol. Number 1. Number 2, bile pigments, inactivated products of steroid hormones, some vitamins and drugs. Okay. So these are all the waste materials. Means after usage, the waste products. The bile pigments are produced by the degeneration of hemoglobin. Actually, the dead RBC is there, no? So those RBC containing the hemoglobin are reaching the liver, and that hemoglobin is converted to bile pigments, bilirubin and bilirubinin, and some vitamins and drugs also. Whatever the drug means medicine we swallow, that will reach the liver first, because liver is the detoxifying organ of our body. Any drug or toxin enters into the body, immediately it is detected by the liver, and the liver function is detoxification, converting high toxic substance into low toxic substance. So the bile pigments are produced by the degradation of hemoglobin of dead RBC cells in the liver, and through the bile ducts, the bile pigments are passed into the intestine and are eliminated along with the fecal matter. So these bile pigments, they are entering into the duodenum along with the bile juice, and after the digestion, the unwanted bile pigments are eliminated along with the undigested food or fecal matter. Okay. And the liver also plays very important role in excretion. In what way? Means actually the metabolism of amino acids produce ammonia. Okay. Ammonia is highly toxic. So that ammonia is converted into urea, okay, in the liver. Okay, children. The liver converts ammonia into urea in a process called ornithine cycle. So after conversion of ammonia into urea only, the kidneys will excrete in the form of urine. Okay. So the kidneys excrete the nitrogenous waste products in the form of urine. Hence, kidneys secrete urine continuously in their nephrons. Nephrons. Now come to the nephrons. Nephrons are the functional units of kidneys. They are the functional units of kidneys. So each kidney is made up of numerous delicate tubules called uriniferous tubules. Uriniferous tubules or nephrons. Okay, see here, this entire structure is called a nephron. Okay, nephrons are held together by a little connective tissue in which blood vessels, nerves and lymph vessels are also present. Okay, nephrons are held together by little connective tissue in which blood vessels, nerves and lymph vessels are also present. There are about 1.2 million nephrons in each kidney of human beings. Okay, how many nephrons are present? 1.2 million nephrons. Each kidney is made up of 1.2 million nephrons. Okay, these are the structures. The nephron structure, it is divided into the two parts. Nephron consisting of a cup-like Bowman's capsule. This is the Bowman's capsule, cup-like Bowman's capsule. Okay, and enclosing a bunch of capillaries. Here the bunch of blood capillaries are present, formed by different arterioles. Okay, they together form arterioles means small arteries. The arteries divide into small capillaries called arterioles, and they form a network of capillaries that is called glomerulus. This glomerulus acts as a filtration bed. Okay, next a proximal convoluted tubule. Now this is the Bowman's capsule or Malpighian body, Malpighian capsule. Okay, this is the next part, proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. Next, the proximal convoluted tubule is continued by loop of Henle. Okay, Henle's loop, hairpin like structure. Then distal convoluted tubule. Okay, next the last part, a collecting duct. Very simple. Remember, a Malpighian tubule, what do you call nephrons. Nephron consisting of, nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. Nephrons are the structural and functional unit of kidney. There are 1.2 million nephrons are present in each kidney. The nephron is made up of or consists of Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. So physiology of excretion begins in the nephron in human beings. So each nephron consisting of two parts. What are the two main parts? Malpighian body or renal capsule. Not only Bowman's capsule. Okay, the scientist who studied the Malpighian body or renal capsule. It has a cup-shaped depression called Bowman's capsule, into which tufts of capillaries, means group of capillaries, blood vessels, minute blood vessels, microscopic blood vessels. Okay, they form that microscopic blood vessels which are present in the Bowman's capsule is called glomerulus. It is called glomerulus. So how this glomerulus is formed means an afferent renal arteriole. This is the afferent. Afferent means incoming. The artery which brings blood to the kidney, or The artery enters into the kidney in the form of efferent renal arteriole, enters the Bowman's capsule. It divides into capillaries forming glomerulus, okay, and leaves as, comes out as, and leaves as efferent. Okay, efferent means incoming, efferent means outgoing, okay, and leaves as efferent renal arteriole, enters the capsule, divide into capillaries forming glomerulus, and leaves as efferent renal arteriole. Okay, it is repeated here. So the renal artery enters into the capsule, divide into capillaries forming glomerulus, okay, and leaves as efferent arteriole, renal arteriole, and leaves as efferent renal arteriole. That's all. Okay, the artery enters as efferent arteriole, divides into capillaries and form glomerulus, and leaves the Bowman's capsule as efferent arteriole. Okay, the efferent renal arteriole then supplies blood to the remaining part of the tubule. It will supply the blood to remaining part of the tubule and join to renal vein, and join to renal vein is filtered in the Malpighian body. Okay, now the second part. The first part is over. Now the second part is secretory tubule. The first part is Bowman's capsule. The second part is secretory tubule. It starts after the Malpighian body and is divided into three distinct regions. What are the three distinct regions? Proximal convoluted tubule. So this is first one. Second, loop of Henle. This is the second one. Okay, the first one is proximal convoluted tubule, second one is loop of Henle, and the third one is distal convoluted tubule, and the last one is collecting duct. Okay, so what is proximal convoluted tubule? The proximal convoluted tubule, it starts immediately here, starts immediately after Bowman's capsule, after Bowman's capsule, makes a few coils, it makes a few coils in the cortex, cortex means the part of kidney, and proceeds towards medulla of kidney, and proceeds towards medulla of the kidney. Okay, outer cortex, inner medulla. Okay, next, loop of Henle. Loop of Henle tubules make a U shape. See here, the loop of Henle make a U shape. This one, this is loop of Henle. Okay, it make a U shape, make a U shape turn or U turn in the medulla, forming loop of Henle. Thus it has a descending and ascending portion. It has descending and ascending. Ascending means proceeding, descending means coming down, ascending and descending portion. Next, the third part is distal convoluted tubule. So this is the distal convoluted tubule. It starts after loop of Henle. So first Bowman's capsule, continued by proximal convoluted tubule, which forms several coils in the cortex region and enters into the medulla region. In the medulla region, it opens into loop of Henle. Now the third one, loop of Henle, opens into distal convoluted tubule, which starts as the loop of Henle and joins the collecting tubule. Last one, collecting duct. Okay, These collecting ducts unite. So there are every nephron is having a own collecting duct. Okay, these collecting ducts unite with each other in the medulla region, inner side of the kidney, to form the larger duct. So that larger duct is called the duct of Bellini. The duct of Bellini. Okay, all these collecting ducts united together and form a large duct called a duct of Bellini. Now, so these the tubule, so these run through the renal pyramids, internal renal pyramids, and open into renal pelvis. Renal pyramids in the internal structure of kidney, renal pyramids. So these renal pyramids opens into renal pelvis. In these tubules, various substances from the filtrate, nephric filtrate, they are reabsorbed. The useful substances which are present in the filtrate are reabsorbed, and there is a rich supply of blood vessels to the kidneys, and it is estimated that total length of blood vessels in the kidneys of man is about 160 kilometers. Okay, that much, very big length. Okay, so a network of vessels paralleling the loop of Henle is known as vasa recta. See here. So everything, the filtration, everything is completed. So these are the blood vessels, the network of blood vessels paralleling. See, these are paralleling the loop of Henle. This is the loop of Henle, U shape. So they are called vasa recta. Vasa recta. Okay, children. Hope you understood. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.